Hello, everyone. This is Jason Montgomery with EE-Tech and All About Circuits, and I want to thank all of you for joining us for another webinar session here today. The title of our session here is Smaller, Faster, Connected, What Matters in MedTech Now, Unique and Differentiated Products Still Rule the Day. This is brought to us in partnership with Sager Electronics and Molex. And we've got a handful of speakers that are joining us here today. Let me introduce them to you, and then I'll hand it off to our first speaker, Anthony, who's going to drive us through the conversation today. So our speakers are Anthony Kalajakis, Strategic Industry Marketing Manager of Molex Philips Medisize in the MedTech sector. We also have Matt McWhinney, who's a Business Development Manager at Molex. We have Kylie Passetti, who's a Marketing Analyst for the Printed Circuit Solutions Business Unit at Molex. And Tom Schultz. He's the Director of Product Management for Molex's Optical Connectivity Solutions. A couple more reminders for everyone before I hand it off to Anthony. If you have any questions that you would like us to have answered in the live Q&A afterwards, please make sure to go to the Q&A widget and submit anything that comes to mind as you're listening to this presentation. That's one of the best parts of these sessions, is getting that real audience engagement between our experts that are here and everyone that's in attendance. And I always love moderating those once we're done with the presentation. So please make sure to submit any questions that you've got that come to mind as you're going through that. So with that, I'm going to get out of the way here. I'm going to hand it off to our first presenter, Anthony, who's going to start telling us all about this topic. Really looking forward to the conversation.
Welcome, and thanks for attending the webinar, Smaller, Faster, Connected, Unique and Differentiated Solutions. On today's session, co-hosted by Molex and Sager, we will learn from Molex subject matter experts on market trends driving innovation in the MedTech space. Insights from Molex MedTech experts. You will hear from Kylie Passetti, who will feature printed circuit innovations aligned with MedTech industry needs. Matt McWhinney will highlight antenna and PCBA relevant interconnect applications. Tom Schultz will discuss how hybrid copper and fiber optic interconnects align to MedTech trends. MedTech market needs. With the COVID-19 pandemic in full swing, we all have a new perspective on the healthcare ecosystem and how it impacts everyone globally. While COVID made an impact on our society in many ways, it stimulated innovation in the MedTech sector to create solutions that are outside the clinic into the individual user's hands. As examples, telehealth, remote monitoring, mobile health. Device manufacturers will need increasingly complex electronics and real-time, life-saving connections between doctors and patients as a result. At the same time, demands on integration and performance will increase. The form factor must follow the axiom ever smaller, ever faster, and ever connected. These devices and the data they transmit between major subsystems include antennas, user interfaces, power, signal, and increasingly optical transmission media. The Molex and Sager value proposition provides competitive advantage from decades of experience in the electronic interconnect segment across several industries. Doing more with less. Mobile electronics from consumer and commercial applications paved the way for smaller, faster, and connected medical applications. These networks connect from patient to cloud through encrypted networks. This connected health ecosystem creates design challenges for MedTech suppliers to provide smaller, flexible, sleeker, and connected solutions. Moving the medical device outside of the clinical setting really creates challenges in durability, functionality, usability that must be incorporated into the design. Managing space and security. In addition to smaller interconnects, the shrinking devices demand flexible circuits and sensor solutions. At the same time, the mobile MedTech market is requiring I/O density, high signal integrity with flawless telemetry. The COVID-19 epidemic underscores the critical path that telehealth plays in connecting patients with healthcare providers through secure networks. These systems are dependent on printed circuit solutions supported by the Molex and Sager team. Now I would like to introduce Kylie Passetti to highlight a few printed circuit solutions in MedTech.
Thanks, Anthony. One of the most valuable advantages Molex offers the medical market is the capability to design and manufacture a wide array of products that can be procured from the same supplier. We are positioned with reliability as a top priority and are highly customizable. Our printed circuit solutions business encompasses user interface products, multiple flexible circuitry product lines, and sensor solutions. Typically, when working with our medical customers, we get involved early in the design process, which gives us the opportunity to understand how our product will be integrated into the final solution. What a lot of customers don't know is that we've been in the membrane switch business since 1979 and have been producing custom solutions for over 40 years. To initiate a new project, we schedule a call or meeting with the customer to understand their design. The end goal is to create a solution that meets all the customer's form, fit, and function requirements, and that are optimized to be produced in mass production. Medical is a key market for our printed circuit solutions products, and we're continually developing our manufacturing capabilities to fulfill the needs of our medical customers. We hold an ISO 13485 certification, which puts us in a position to promote ourselves as an experienced and knowledgeable supplier for the design and production of medical devices. Having the certification in conjunction with our traceability, reporting processes, and quality systems allows us to work with many medical customers and streamline requirements for audits. It communicates to our customers that we have our quality process built into our standard practices, and that allows us to concentrate on the product design. We offer a standard line of flat flexible cables known as PrimoFlex with over 12,000 standard part numbers. These cables are ideal for board-to-board interconnections in confined spaces. PrimoFlex tin and gold-plated standard products range from 0.25 to 5.08 millimeters in pitch and can contain 4 to 60 circuits. By offering both connectors and PrimoFlex cables, we provide our customers the complete interconnect solution. One of the things that sets our cables apart is our sampling service and customization. We have a wide variety of cables stocked, which allows us to turn around most sample requests in 1 to 2 weeks. Our customers use the sample cables to confirm form, fit, and function so that they're confident they have a product that meets their application's unique requirements. For any customization with pitch size, circuit count, or length, or if you think you're designing the world's next innovative, life-improving product, such as respirators, ultrasound devices, infusion pumps, and more, give us a call and we'll discuss how we can work with you. In summary, Molex is a long-standing company with a broad array of products and solutions. The demand for advanced, on-body medical devices across the medical community continues to grow. and device manufacturers will need to engage increasingly complex circuitry to create real-time, life-saving connections between doctors and patients. Combining our engineering expertise in quality process, including our ISO 13485 certification, allows us to better serve the medical market. Thank you. And now I will send you over to Matt.
Thanks, Kylie. Now I will discuss how Molex fine-pitch interconnects and antennas that support the smaller, faster connected trends impacting medical device design. The need to increase electronic performance, driving higher density and overall miniaturization is especially impacting interconnects that are used in many medical devices. Portability and reliability requirements drive power performance with increasing amounts of battery-enabled devices. Technological innovations in power transfer is enabling faster charging, brighter displays, and more dynamic power management in portable medical devices. And increasing demand for excellent RF performance is driving device designs to have well-designed wireless circuits and often even multiple antennas in their packaging. Displays on medical devices continue to improve and become more important to the device performance, and with brighter displays, higher resolution, and even touchscreens have become very common. MedTech architectures have become increasingly modular and utilize interconnects that are fine pitch, not only for and between displays, but between other printed circuit boards, between battery circuits and charging ports and I/O circuits. Molex has been extremely innovative in fine pitch interconnects such as our slim stack board-to-board and easy-on FPC, FFC connectors, which are used to connect displays, printed circuit boards, and various other components and modular designs, enabling ever-increasing densities. They support high-speed data exchange and offer excellent retention with multiple locking versions to support robust interconnection requirements in ultra-small form factors with pitches down to 0.2 millimeters and stacked heights well below 1 millimeter. The need for constant and reliable power drives the optimization of batteries in medical devices, batteries for both backup and also to enable portability. Batteries that require or have fast charging capabilities, especially with smaller products like wearables, combined with design goals of miniaturization, drives the need for ever smaller interconnections between device components like batteries, as well as displays and the charging circuits. Molex offers ultra-fine pitch power connectors that can support power transfer from 5 up to 15 amps and pitches as small as 0.35 millimeters, which are suitable for the smallest of devices such as medallions and personal monitors. With increased data acquisition and storage, device manufacturers need architectures that can support high-speed communications, both internal on the backplane and between devices. For internal high-speed interconnections, Molex has many products including shielded board-to-board connectors for ultra-high-speed interconnects between the devices, as well as standard external connectors that can support high speed. For many reasons, including improving reliability, shrinking size, and lowering costs, as well as reducing development time, system designers and developers continue to turn more towards standard interfaces like USB-C, which offer ultra-high speed with up to 40 gigabits per second, high power transfer from 15 watts and even higher as the voltage increases in a compact standard interface. Molex offers many USB-C connectors in various pin counts, ratings, form factors, including waterproof versions. Wireless in MedTech has evolved from a convenient to now what has become a critical interface. To save development time, many developers, as well as reducing risk and lowering cost, many developers are increasingly turning from pure custom antennas to off-the-shelf or semi-custom antenna in their designs. Also, developers are seeking ways to increase wireless performance and reliability. And one of the techniques that they use is to include or turn to backup antennas, or sometimes using MIMO, such as what's shown here, multiple antennas in a common package. And one other surefire way to reduce risk and ensure optimal RF performance is to bring in wireless design much earlier into the product development and design process. This will help ensure a more tightly integrated and provide more time for testing and documentation of the wireless performance. We recommend you get a wireless expert on your team, and by working with Sager and Molex, our RF engineers can augment and support your development team and provide you with useful RF testing and design assistance with your antennas as well as your high-speed circuits. And now I will turn it over to Tom Schultz, who will discuss Molex Opto products.
Thank you, Matt. I'm going to highlight how Molex's Medispec optical product line allows medical customers to utilize hybrid connectors that incorporate optical and electrical signals to improve and enhance the technology that they are developing. The hybrid connector solutions are designed to solve current and next generation requirements for low latency, higher data rates, and the need to have robust, reliable connector interfaces. Molex's optical interconnect technology offers industry standard LC and MPO connectors, as well as a wide range of connectors that offer increased density, along with options to incorporate electrical signal, power, and pneumatics. In today's webinar, I'm going to focus on the hybrid circular MT and the Opto HD assemblies. The Medispec 1x3 circular MT connector allows the versatility of electrical MT contacts for power and signal, and also high-density optical MT ferrules for data transmission, all incorporated in a single connector housing. Opto HD assemblies with HDMI, DisplayPort, and USB connectors allow for 4K and 8K displays to be used within operating rooms and surgical suites with improved clarity. Molex's VersaBeam MT technology uses an optical lens interface to expand the optical signal, which minimizes sensitivity to contamination, which essentially allows for a plug-and-play optical connector system. The VersaBeam MT, based on the MT ferrule footprint, allows this technology to be used in the Medispec circular MT connector, which effectively ensures fast system installation in the medical office or surgical suite by eliminating the need for cleaning the optical interface prior to mating. Molex's Medispec hybrid 1x3 circular MT interconnect allows for a mix of copper MT ferrules and optical MT ferrules, providing a high-density hybrid connector. The copper MT ferrule incorporates a pin and socket format that can deliver up to 3 amps, while the optical MT ferrules can provide data transmission lanes from 2 to 24 fibers for short-reach multimode or longer-reach single-mode applications. This hybrid design can reduce the number of connectors and ease the installation in most applications. In addition, medical environments need robust solutions that are easy to use while being highly reliable. Molex's Medispec optical connectors have gone through extensive testing to ensure they meet the performance required for applications such as 5,000 demate cycles, high force, and high load testing requirements. Robust jacketing options using metal conduit provide superior crush force from patient cart rollover while still being highly flexible to ensure they lay flat to prevent potential trip hazards. The use of hybrid connectivity can solve demanding applications or bridge the transition from electrical to optical product generations by combining optics and electrical contacts in a single connector housing. The Molex Hybrid Medical Opto HD AOCs are designed to solve stringent requirements of transmitting high-resolution video, data, and power in critical environments and applications such as robotic surgery, ER centers, and doctors' offices. The cables offer industry-standard connectors such as HDMI, USB, and DisplayPort for ease of use and adaptation. Compared to traditional all-electrical cables, the hybrid optical cables are thinner and flexible, allowing them to easily install and fit in crowded medical equipment. The hybrid Opto HD AOC technology uses a patent optical engine to convert the electrical signal to optical at the opposite end of the cable. The result is a galvanic isolated signal with improved speed and longer bandwidth transmission distances within a thin cable that is flexible and lightweight. The Opto HD AOC cables are ideal for medical video display port or HDMI applications where a thin plug-and-play cable offers high EMI and RFI protection while being extremely flexible during installation and use. Molex Opto HD AOC is allowed to easily extend video and data signals through walls to video display boards in adjacent rooms or hallways. Molex is excited to be working with Sager and our customers in the medical market to solve current and next generation connector and assembly challenges. Anthony will now provide an overview of Molex's compact robotic connectors.
A case study on robotic compact connectors. As humanity deals with the COVID pandemic, I'd like to highlight a very contemporary MedTech innovation and application with Xenex, a leader in automated disinfection. Molex and Sager are proud to be part of the supply base in support of Xenex, where Molex IO Compact Rectangular Connectors, CRC, provided an interconnect solution for automated disinfection applications. This is another example of how Molex and Sager can enable MedTech customers to solve real-world problems. In summary, Molex and Sager sales engineers employ a consultative approach to develop cutting-edge solutions for MedTech device manufacturers. By leveraging industry know-how, we are collectively able to provide MedTech OEMs and subcontractors with interconnect solutions as demonstrated by our speakers. We create value by leveraging innovations from our portfolio and ask, what if, to solve electronic interconnect challenges. Collectively, Molex and Sager are providing solutions that enable our MedTech customers to create value and make a positive contribution to society. Be safe, and thank you for your time.
All right, well, thank you all very much. This is Jason Montgomery, your moderator here again. We're going to dive into a Q&A session here now that we've gone through that outstanding presentation. I want to thank all of our presenters once again, and as a reminder to everyone that's here in attendance, we've got that Q&A box, the Q&A widget that'll allow you to submit questions to us right now so that we can go through. We've got a lot of really smart people in the room right now here, everyone, so definitely take advantage of that and make sure to get your questions in. And we've got a good chunk in to start here right now, but we'd love to see some more roll in as well. So with that in mind, let's start. I think I'm going to go to David to start here. David, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. All right, a question I've got, I think this one's for you. What is the functionality of an FFC PrimoFlex?
The functionality of a PrimoFlex is basically to help interconnect two PC boards or a PC board and a display unit.
All right, got it. Thank you very much, David. I'll be throwing around the questions here, trying to spread the love a little bit, everybody. I think, Matt, we've got a couple questions here for you. With antennas, when in the design process is the best time to engage with Molex or Sager?
Always the earlier the better is the answer to that. But we have been brought into assist or help even late in the design process, even after maybe a design choice has been made to try to optimize. But the earlier the better, because that typically is when there's more more flexibility in terms of options, and that's always good. It gives you, it provides better degrees of design flexibility.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Let's see, Tom, I think I have a question in here for you. How are Molex's hybrid connectors different than the competitors in the medical space?
Yeah, I would say Molex's hybrid connectors are positioned well, because of our ability to mix and match the fiber counts along with the electrical contacts within our 1x3 circular connector system. This really allows Molex to offer higher bandwidth solutions, with the use of the MT ferrules that have higher fiber count compared to traditional hybrid connectors that may just use ceramics. And then in addition, the use of the Molex expanded beam MT ferrules allows for that plug and play ability, which really simplifies the use of an optical electrical connector in a medical environment.
Got it. Thank you very much. I'm going to toss it back to Matt here for another question. For the fine pitch connectors, can Molex or Sager make recommendations on what to choose based on design or requirements?
Absolutely. Really what it comes down to is what are those requirements. We have some, on the web and through Sager, but certainly just asking the question will allow us to help you make a selection, and that could be based on plating, size, in terms of stack height, in terms of pitch, or in terms of temperature requirements or materials. It really, it gets down to what are your requirements, and without understanding those sufficiently, it's difficult to make a recommendation. But the good news is we have a lot of connector options, and the bad news is we have a lot, meaning that it can be confusing. So by coming to us, we can kind of help untangle any confusion or lack of, and maybe present multiple choices, lower cost, higher performance, and then allow you to ultimately make the best design choice for your application.
All right, thank you very much. Let's see here. Going through the questions here, making sure I'm getting the right people for the right questions here. Looks like there's a question, and I think that I'm going to direct this one to Matt McWhinney. Is there a Molex document which matches up PrimoFlex cable series with mating FFC or FPC connector series?
I'm not aware of anything. We can also ask David this, but basically any type of FPC, FFC connector system can work or should be able to work with PrimoFlex, because they, in many instances, if not all instances, the PrimoFlex it's a design-driven or application-driven product. And really, it's kind of the chicken or the egg. The connector will define the pattern, the pitch, and the requirements, and then the PrimoFlex would then be the interconnecting media between the connectors that would be designed to fit in and match. And if there were crosses or if it was placed with others, I mean, however the your interconnect strategy is, but we don't really have like a secret decoder document that says that lines those up. It is a good topic, and we can look into it. I work closely with our product managers, and I can see if we can put something like that together. So thanks for asking that.
Yeah, I think this is David. We don't have a document per se, but one of the initiatives that we've been working the last year or so is to make sure that on the Molex website, every SIP and lift connector references the mating PrimoFlex cable. So that's a good way to get the ball rolling with having a better idea of what cable would fit that connector. If there's something that is outside of that spectrum, then we can look into customizing the solution.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. Let's see here. Another question, and I think that I'm going to direct this one to Tom. Tom, let me know if I should pass this off to to somebody else. Are the hybrid optical electrical products a standard offering with Molex, or do they always require early engagement with customer design engineers to develop a highly custom solution?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I can answer that. Yeah, in general, early engagement is always best, but at the same time, Molex's 1x3 circular product line has been on the market now 10 plus years. So we really have a base of product with, different MT ferrule, components and different electrical contacts. So with that, we have a base of solutions that we can offer customers as kind of a standard offering. But what we typically have seen is that most customers' applications are unique, depending on the power or data transmissions that they're trying to achieve. And so that's where having that early engagement is helpful. But even if something is, somewhat down the line in a development path, Molex's product line may be able to come in and simplify it ultimately without a big change for the customer. So yeah, early engagement is great, but not required. And there are bits and pieces of the product line that we consider more standard off the shelf that we can kind of use as a puzzle piece to review with the customers.
All right, thank you very much. Another question that we have here is going to go to Matt. And this one has to do with, something that seems to come up in almost every webinar that we're doing, wireless communication. What to use in the wireless communications?
Yeah, in terms of what technology, it really, I don't want to just sound like I'm beating a drum that says it depends, but I'll give you a few things that would be most important to take into consideration. First of all, if it's a white sheet of paper, if you're brand new, if it's either a brand new application or maybe you're wirelessly enabling a product that previously had not utilized, or you're skipping generations and you're kind of starting again with a white sheet of paper, so to speak, then you have the choice. But if it's something that was already there, then probably a continuation of that, and you don't really have a choice in terms of saying, I want to use Bluetooth or cellular. But if it is a white sheet of paper, then it really depends on your application needs. Like, for instance, I'll give you a few guidelines or some things to keep in mind. How much data needs to be transmitted? How far does it need to be transmitted? How frequently? And it would then, based on those choices, either it might be perfectly obvious, or if it's not, you could certainly turn to us and we could make some recommendations. But for instance, Wi-Fi might make make good sense, but you may want to consider which bands of Wi-Fi, which frequencies you want to go with, 2.4 gigahertz or 2.4 and 5, or even some of the Wi-Fi 6E. And they each have advantages and disadvantages, and you can do all the above. There are always issues and concerns and caveats that you need to take in consideration. So the further you get into it, the more you realize that careful planning, and it all gets down to understanding what your application needs are. And I would say the final thing is you may want to consider, if it's mission critical, such as the sanctity of human life, keeping someone alive, or payroll information, there may be some value in having backup, either like a redundant or literally a backup set of wireless. Like if you have Wi-Fi, then having it backed up with LTE in the event that Wi-Fi goes down. Or if you're using Wi-Fi, even having multiple antennas. There's technologies known as MIMO, M-I-M-O, massive input, massive output. So lots of choices. We are certainly willing to listen to you and offer advice and listen to your needs. So long answer to your short, simple question.
No, that's great. Thank you very much, Matt. I think that The answer of it depends, and then a good thorough answer afterwards. Our webinar attendees here are very familiar with that format. We appreciate your insights there. Let me go down here. I'm going to throw this just out to, I think, whoever would like to answer this one. I didn't realize the extent that Molex is involved in the MedTech industry. Where can I get more detailed information on the products presented and other MedTech capabilities?
I'll take that one. This is Anthony. If you have any assigned account manager from Sager or Molex, that's your first point of contact. You can also find a lot of the information on molex.com and selecting the medical industry page, and from there you can toggle into multiple product applications. There's also the interactive guide. You can get that hit the radio button on the landing page, and that allows you to take a virtual tour of all the products and solutions available. And thanks for that question.
Thank you, Anthony. Another question here. Is Molex developing products to be used in Class 4 implantable devices?
I'll take that question as well. And yes is the answer. We go through the different device categories. Of course, we're a supplier to the invasive or implanted market. Yes, we have a number of capabilities that can be applied. Of course, those are application specific. So again, reach out to your either your Sager or Molex contact person, or you can always go through the landing page to ask those questions. But we'd love to engage on that.
And a follow-up question here, Anthony. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
This is Matt. I would also add on top of that, within the device itself, there may be the need for micro interconnections, RF, and other types of electronic componentry to support your interconnect needs. So that's also something that we can support you with as well. Besides the the overall, I would call it the device at the device level requirements. So in the world of miniaturization, we continue to push the limit in terms of what is small, and the interconnection options continue to grow almost on a monthly basis.
Yeah, to put a finer point on that, it's the inside of the can, the hermetically sealed can, is where those component levels come into play.
And reaching out to your Molex Sager representative will help you stay in touch with any new, or as we're releasing new product variations, new products.
Thank you, gentlemen. And I think a follow-up question here, I think we've just touched on it, but maybe to just make it explicit here, the follow-up question is, what risks are of most concern in Class 4 applications when designing solutions?
Of course, the number one axiom is do no harm, right? So the ISO 14971 identifies the high risk areas, or develops a process for you to identify those. We'll work with the customer and kind of make a rank order of what's the likelihood and what's the severity. And then from there, we start to build out the statement of work to make sure that's incorporated in that process.
All right, thank you both very much. I'm looking here, all of our presenters, I'm looking at the Q&A box that I've got here, and it looks like we've gone through all of the questions that have been submitted so far. Make sure to give our attendees just another minute here. If there's anything else that's on anyone's mind, feel free to submit a question right now before we wrap up. And while we might be waiting for that, maybe I can toss it back to Anthony or to another one of our presenters to see, are there any kind of final thoughts here or anything else that y'all want to emphasize before we're wrapping up this session?
Obviously, in the top of everyone's mind is the COVID situation, and there's a lot of close observation of what the metrics are for that. Just to say that we're intimately involved in providing solutions in that case. We all look forward to when we get back to a normal state where we can also start to do the more conventional diagnostic and therapies that are being restricted today because of all the care being put towards respiratory. So just be safe, everyone, and thanks for attending the session.
Well, thank you very much, Anthony. Appreciate that. I just as moderator of this session, I will say, you know, in what's been a long and difficult year for me, and I'm sure a lot of people in attendance, it's been a really great personal joy of mine to be able to get to do these kinds of sessions and to see what the industry is up to and how people are really making active steps to try to make the world a better place moving forward. And I'm always excited and honored to be a part of that process and that conversation and to just hear about these kinds of developments. It really, it's always a joy to get to hear about this kind of stuff. So with that, everyone, I think that we'll close out the session here. I want to thank all of our presenters. I think we obviously had some really great engagement from the audience, people definitely interested in this topic. So thank you to Sager, thanks to Molex, and thanks to everyone who's in attendance here. Thanks for joining us for this session, and we look forward to seeing you at another live webinar session soon, and hope you all have a good end to your year here in 2020 and looking to a strong movement into the next year as well. So thank you everyone for your time.